alternate people's minds a little bit.
Oh, that's ambitious.
Do I think the messages in the movie will help liberate people's minds?
Yes, even a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, because the novel did for me, and I think the movie, that's the only reason, other than to make money, I suppose, the only reason to do art is to try to have a communication, some kind of influence on people. Yeah, absolutely. I hope that the movie does. Did it for you?
Yes, it did.
Good.
You know, but I'm a little bit curious because the Europeans have a different way or point of view for life compared to the Americans. So that's why I'm a little bit curious about the American point of view rather than the European. That's the reason of asking you, actually.
Well, I think, you know, you can't generalize. I'm sure there are people in Europe who are very, would hate this movie, and there are people in America who love the movie. But, you know, I think generally a movie like this is more for an audience that isn't the audience that goes to see big studio movies like a Green Lantern or the Avengers, or, you know, to me those movies are spectacle, and this movie is supposed to engage you in a different way. The movies that I grew up loving were movies like Francis Coppola's The Conversation, and movies of that era, Cutter's Way, which may not be that familiar in Europe, but it's about three friends who get involved with a conspiracy, uncover a conspiracy, and their lives are kind of destroyed by it. It was kind of, in a way, very similar in my mind to Radio Free Albemuth. It's a movie I recommend with Jeff Bridges, really good movie from the 80s.
Can you repeat the title?
Cutter's Way.
With a C.
With Jeff Bridges, yes?
Cutters with a C.
Cutter with a C. It had another title too, called Cutter and Bone. It may in Europe have been Cutter and Bone. Cutter's Way. If you IMDb Jeff Bridges, there's also a very good actor, John Hurd, H-E-A-R-D, who is amazingly good in it. He's the crazy one, and Jeff Bridges is the skeptical one. And the wife is sort of between them the same way Rachel is. Also a difference from the novel is that in the novel, Rachel is a bitch, is a totally bitchy, bad character. And I thought it was more interesting if she was a reluctant participant in the journey, and, you know, we like her, so that there's more of a pull in what he chooses between a really nice family and sacrificing himself. You know, if she's a horrible person, you know, you may want to get killed by the end. So I wanted it to be more that she was a lot nicer. Yes?
I would like to ask you a question that it's not on the film. What is your view about the Occupy movement in the United States?
What is my view of the Occupy movement? Well, I think that I feel about it the same way President Obama feels, that there's an important message in what they're saying in terms of the individual and in terms of corporate responsibility, and the fact that government in our country, in the United States, has become more for the wealthy. I think there's an important message there. I'm not a member of the Occupy movement, but I think it's an important balance. I'm glad that it's there. What do you think?
I am a part of the Indignados movement in Europe, so
yes.
The Occupy movement is something that is very familiar to us. But it's we can discuss it later. And another thing.
Do you think the message of this movie will resonate for people who are on that political side?
I'm not quite sure yet.
Not quite sure yet.
I'm interested in the book, and also I'm interested in the film, but I'm not quite sure. I would have to see it again.
Yes.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday, we're screening it. Please come. Anyone else? Back there?
Are you going
trying to make another movie about Philip Dick in the future?
About Philip K. Dick? No. This is my movie about Philip K. Dick. I think, but we will make Flow My Tears, the policeman said, from a novel by Philip K. Dick, but he's not a character in it. I like the idea of his story about his visionary experiences being in the form of a science fiction story like this. I wouldn't want to do a straight story about his life. There's been some talk about doing one in the past, but they also would do a kind of a science fiction aspect to it. Anyone else? Back there?
Since you referred to your influences, the concept of excellence.
Can you speak a little louder?
Yes. I was wondering if you have been influenced by the American avant-garde cinema, like Kenneth Anger, for example, because the sequences that you had, these sci-fi sequences, really remind me of the Asian writing and
Am I influenced by American experimental cinema? That's the question? Yes, very much. I was very influenced. There's a wonderful book called Expanded Cinema in English by a writer named Eugene Youngblood that when I taught I used as text. And he wrote about the very early kind of computer-generated artists, filmmakers like Jordan Belson, who worked on 2001, influenced it, and John Whitney. And so I've always been influenced by that. Kenneth Anger was not really very much in my mind, but I like Kenneth Anger. Died not long ago. Anyone else?
Sorry,
we will have to continue this outside and on Tuesday because we have to continue with...
And has everyone signed the sheet? Has everyone gotten it? Has it found its way through the theater?
Yeah, we'll find it. Don't worry.
Thank you all very much for coming. Very good questions. And I'll hang around the lobby and chat with any of you who'd like to chat further if you didn't ask your question. If you have messages from Valis, you can give them to me then. New messages. Thank you all very much for coming. And thank you for having me. I'm really enjoying my time.